Law fights for those who fought for us. If you're a vet and have been wrongfully denied the VA benefits you're entitled to, call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
And your WTMJ 5-day forecast today, mostly sunny with a high of 48. Tonight, mostly clear, a low of 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, a high of 59 at the lakefront, 61 inland. Friday, partly sunny with a high of 58 at the lakefront, 65 inland. Saturday, rain likely, but it'll be a high of 56. And Sunday, a chance of rain with a high of 52. Right now in Madison, it's 42. Green Bay, 39. Waukesha, 39. And in Milwaukee, 42 degrees. I'm Debbie Lazaga, Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:08.
Breaking down the biggest stories, talking about what really matters, and bringing you the biggest forum to let your voice be heard. Now, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, here's Steve Scaffidi.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday show, the hump day edition, as they say, if you still use that term. I still do, because I think it still applies. It's the hump of the week. Once we're done with Wednesday, we are on the downslide to the weekend, unless of course you work the weekend, then might be the beginning of your week today. So cheers to all of you. A couple things, a lot of guests today and a lot of really important topics. Taxation, we'll do a little salute to service hitting it in a second here with some friends at Educators Credit Union, talk about our launch of that month-long tribute to first responders. That's coming up about 9:15. We're going to talk about scams, fraud, with a member of the FTC. That guest is about 10:45. And then my friend Josh Showman, Washington County, I almost said Waukesha, Washington County executive, will join us. The battle over the budgets and how counties are doing in relation to that. So a lot of moving pieces today. And, of course, as we end every Wednesday show, ask Steve anything, any question, fair game. Let's be brilliant today. Let's ask the tough questions. Let's really, really dig deep on them. I love the fun ones. We could do some of that, too. But let's dig deep. Ask Steve anything coming up at 11:08. All right, real quick. So Vince and Eric were talking about a couple things. 794, potholes. Here's my take on all of this stuff. We don't need to make it any harder than it is, right? Potholes. Literally focus on it for a week or two, you're done. Honest to God. It's this frustration level, this unwillingness to just fix things. Kind of like when I drive through alleys. Whatever community still has alleys. Some of the older communities have them. And like, we can't afford to fix these alleys. Really? Why don't you do one section a year? One section a year, one block of alleys. Whether that's repair or replace. Hire some local guys from your city or train your own DPW workers to pour cement. That's all it is. You have to be willing to think outside the box. And on the 794 thing, look, when I read a story, and I just read this story, and I, as you know, big fan of the Journal-Sentinel, probably one of their strongest advocates in this market and in the States. And this one has to do with the headline is New Downtown Milwaukee Plan includes a focus on removing I-794 and a renewed MacArthur Square. MacArthur Square, sure. Figure out some use for that. Develop it if you want to. I don't care. But when I see the word attached to 794, the word is barrier, that seems judgmental to me. Barrier? For who? I take it every day. It's not a barrier. It's a means of transportation. And to think that somehow removing it, replacing it with a boulevard or whatever form of city streets that's going to come next, the example of the Park East is not necessarily the same example for 794. And I know it's hard for some people to wrap their heads around that. Will there be some development if you take it down? Sure. You still have to have a roadway there, folks. And if you're talking about a boulevard, the footprint's not that much smaller. It's smaller, sure. I'll give you that. It's not that much smaller. And what do I always say about boulevards? They have those green areas in the middle. First year looks fantastic. Second year, still looks pretty good. Third year, all right. By the 5th year, by the 10th year, by the 20th year, it's a collection area for garbage. especially in the downtown. Why is that? Because no one's tasked with that work. That's why our freeways look like garbage most of the year. The only way these things work is you actually focus on resolving the issues. Potholes, you can have hearing after hearing. You can use it as a cause célèbre for workers' rights, as Jonathan Brostoff likes to do. It's not that at all. It's fixing potholes so your customers, your citizens, your residents don't break their axles or get flat tires driving on your streets. Simple as that. Do it. What's holding you up? What's a hearing going to do? Get in a truck, load some patch, get some guys out there, start filling them. Start today, finish in a couple weeks. Aggressive schedule, do it. Should be built into the budget, certainly. If you have bigger structural problems for streets, then that's an item that you're going to have to budget for in a bigger perspective. You got to think through these solutions, and enough with the arguing, the constant arguing about city government. It's stupid. It's dumb. This is not a workers' rights issue. Fix the potholes. And if you're going to replace 794, you sure as heck better have a good plan for how that's going to work. Because if you do it, one, my commute gets longer. Two, I don't want to see a boulevard of garbage as the backdrop to our downtown. Quick take on some of these ideas floating around. All right, after the break, my buddy Victor Frazier from Educators Credit Union, we're launching Salute to Service. He's going to join us in studio after this on WTMJ.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ. New rules, same old Bob Uecker.
Time call now. Here's a penalty. Offside.
All season long, right here on the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
Hey, this is Steve Scaffidi for Badger Fence. You've heard me talk about a beautiful new cedar fence, now 3 years old. I love it. Privacy, security, peace of mind, affordability, all part of the Badger Fence story. They have been installing durable fences in Milwaukee since 1945. Metro Milwaukee as well. Proud member of the Better Business Bureau. A-plus rating, doesn't get any better than that. Proud member of the National Association of the Remodeling Industry. Privacy, security, wide choice of fence styles. If that's your thing, Badger Fence is the right company. 75 years of experience. Whether it's wood, which is what we chose, ornamental, chain link, PVC, they can help you choose the right materials for your fence project. And when it comes to quality, unmatched in the industry and at the most competitive prices. We love our new wood fence. And when we were shopping around for fence companies, we found the right match with Badger Fence. To set up an appointment to talk to Badger Fence about your fence project, go to badgerfence.com. Simple. Badgerfence.com. Tell them Steve Scaffidi from WTMJ sent you.
Headlines, texts, emails, the TV, the computer, the phone, even your smartwatch. Seems like it never ends. Market volatility can lead to anxiety and planning paralysis. No surprise Americans report being stressed about their investment and retirement plans. Turn down the media roar. Dial up the planning. Put Annex Wealth Management on your side for investment and retirement guidance that includes tax and estate planning. Head to AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button. Know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. That's Annex Wealth Management.
Hi, it's Rose Gray from Fox World Travel. Our travel advisors can help you travel anywhere in the world. Whether you're looking for a group tour or prefer to customize your own unique experience, we have the expertise to craft your next extraordinary journey, including some amazing options from our partners, Globus Tours, Princess Cruises, Disney Vacations, and Avalon Waterways, just to name a few. Visit foxworldtravel.com or call 866-GO-FOX-GO. There are memories to be made this summer, and Fox will get you there.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show.
As you know, if you're a frequent listener, we're launching our 6th year of Salute to Service. A way to say thank you to first responders, police officers, firefighters, EMTs, dispatchers, frontline medical. I mean, all the folks who do the heavy lifting every day for us. We told some tremendous stories last year, and we'll do it again this year. And right now we're seeking your nominations. You can do that just by going to our website at WTMJ.com, clicking the Salute to Service banner. And our great partner this year is from Educators Credit Union. That means Victor Fraser joins us in studio, Director of Community Engagement. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me in this morning. Really appreciate the time.
So you and I were chatting before the show, and I said I'm a member at ECO.
Oh, thank you for being a member.
I absolutely love it. I was lauding you on your online platform, which I've been a member of a bunch of banks over my many years. It is the best online platform I've ever seen, and the experience is easy, customer-friendly. I'm not just saying it. I was a customer before I was a spokesperson.
Thank you. Really appreciate those kind words.
So whoever's doing the heavy lifting on that stuff,
I'll give them a pat on the back when I get back to the office for you.
all right, so I'm excited that now Educators is going to be part of our Salute to Service. So tell me about Educators Credit Union for the folks who don't know about your company.
Yeah, absolutely. Educators Credit Union was founded in 1937 by a group of 10 teachers way back then. And it was Mrs. Ruth Christensen that plopped down her $10 and started our charter for the credit union. So you fast forward just a couple years, and now we are a over $3 billion financial organization, and we have over 23 branches throughout Southeast Wisconsin. And our mission has not changed, is serving our membership with solid financial products and to help lift them up with their financial empowerment. We are educators. We're here to talk to you about money and help you reach your goals and help support the communities that we serve. So we are a nonprofit. So the best part about that, Steve, is that the money that we make, we give back to our members so we can have those amazing platforms.
You literally get a little thing in your online platform that says, "Hey, you just got this back as being a member." I was the lucky recipient of that this year.
Yes, our member loyalty program is wildly popular. People are always asking me, "What's the difference between a bank and a credit union?" And I was like, "Well, when's the last time the bank actually gave you some money back?"
It's been a while. So you were also telling me that it's Financial Literacy Month. So what's the message this month from educators?
The message this month is take charge of your finances with the tools that you have available. So Educators Credit Union does a phenomenal job of putting those resources in front of people as members. And then more importantly, we drill down into the communities that we serve. One of the things I really absolutely love to do is support local schools and school districts with financial literacy platforms so teachers can feel confident in getting that information to their students at a young age. Because, Steve, I think we can both agree that we didn't really get a lot of that coming up, right?
No, and there's been a lot of drama associated with that, which says young people aren't being trained on how to balance their digital checkbook, so to speak.
Yes. And the thing that I like is that we're always keeping up with the changing times. We always try to hear what our membership is saying. So a lot of the things that we come up with comes directly from the membership. We were one of the first financial institutions, now everybody has it, to actually provide a copy of your credit report. You remember back in the day, Steve, when getting your credit report was like a super secret FBI file, you had to you would apply for a loan, you do the sign of the cross and the Hail Mary, hey, maybe I'm going to get the loan, I don't know. Now people have those tools, but it's just a number. The best part is that we do good to great member service. We'll actually sit down with you and say, okay, here's what you need to do to look at moving your score. Now everybody has the credit score out there, but we've been doing it for over 20 years.
Yeah, there's actually a calculator on the site where you can actually figure out, if I do this, here's the corresponding increase in my credit and my number. I wanted to ask you about the community part because that's a big part of what you do at Educators. So what I do is honor those men and women who work as first responders across all those fields I mentioned before. Why is that a great match for Educators?
It's because it's part of the communities that we serve, and then a while ago they were part of what we called our field of membership. Government employees fell into that, and they all are aligning with Educators' core values of honesty, integrity, fairness, respect, and excellence. Those first responders are really what keeps society moving in crisis situations, and to really honor them is just part of what we do.
So we're going to be launching this for real on the May 1st, and that's a month-long commitment to those people. So I know you're not aware of this, but we will solicit submissions, nominations. We get anywhere from 50 to 100 every year, and then we kind of look through the list and we pick the best ones. They're all great. Absolutely. And then we, in the last week of the month in May, we bring those folks in. We put together a short piece that we pre-record with them, kind of telling their story, and then you folks at Educators join us in studio to present them with an award. We've got other sponsors who give them dinner. I mean, it's a great platform for the best amongst us.
Yes. I'd be happy to come back for that. That's going to be an awesome day.
All right, so I just saw you in the hallway, so you got to come in and talk about Educators, so I appreciate that you're here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the platform and the opportunity.
Absolutely, and we'll see you down the road in the next few weeks as we launch our Salute to Service. I think it's our 6th year, so thanks to Educators Credit Union for being part of that.
Happy to be a part of it, Steve. Thank you so much for the time.
All right, Victor Fraser, Director of Community Engagement for Educators Credit Union. I'm not just a spokesperson. I'm a customer. Trust me. Awesome. Quick break.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ. Wisconsin's Morning News.
The decision that the FPC made last night, I don't think it makes us safer.
Join Vince Petrano every weekday starting at 5 a.m.
The FPC in its decision could have listened to all voices, and at the very least, I'll grant them some room here, could have reached a compromise.
Start the day with what you need to know.
FPC could at least have given our law enforcement professionals some avenue to participate in the process of this relief. I thought they made the wrong decision.
On Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Stop into Ken Michaels Furniture for our sale on Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is an American icon in quality leather upholstery. Whether you're looking for power recliners or stationary seating, BY's Furniture is made with enduring quality, outstanding comfort, and timeless styling. Save 35% now on Bradington Young upholstery at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield and Greenfield. Visit us today.
If you have joint pain and they're telling you surgery is your best option, you got to stop what you're doing and call QC Kinetics. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Professionals at QC Kinetics use the latest, most advanced regenerative treatments to bring lasting pain relief the natural way. Regenerative medicine harnesses your own body's healing agents to restore and repair damaged tissue in your knees, your hips, shoulder, back. Precision treatments. They're all done in office, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics has hundreds of clinics all over America and thousands of satisfied patients. If your joints are aching from arthritis or injury, look beyond steroids and surgery. Discover the amazing possibilities with regenerative medicine, especially this time of year. We all want to be living life to the fullest, doing the stuff that we love the most. And if you can get lasting relief and avoid going under the knife, well, it makes sense to check it out, right? Call QC Kinetics now. It's a free consultation, no obligations. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Hey, don't wait. 414-285-3474.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Differentiation Officer Brian Wickert reminding home shoppers that working with Accunet is different and better than working with your bank. Most bank pre-approvals state they've only verified the potential home buyer's credit, but not their income or money for down payment. To us, that's just crazy. Accunet's rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval tells the seller we've checked out all three aspects of your financial health and that we'll pay $2,000 if our pre-approval is faulty. Banks don't do that, but they do have a lot of overhead with all their vice presidents and fancy branches. We keep overhead low, which means lower rates and closing costs that are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks. Most importantly, our loan consultants can show you and your agent how to improve your financing and appraisal contingencies so your offer has the best chance of winning in a multiple offer situation. Hey, don't settle for a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval. Click on the blue button today for your rock-solid, guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Texter takes me to task. You can take me to task if you want. 855-616-1620, the Old National Bank talk and text line. You can also email me at steve.scaffidi2s1d at WTMJ.com. I got a bunch yesterday that I answered. Always available literally all the time. So this is from the 262. Steve is totally, all caps, oversimplifying the pothole problem. What I'm seeing more and more is it's not just potholes, but all the roadbeds are totally breaking up, street by street. And patching potholes doesn't solve that. Road construction methods in recent decades to keep total reconstruction as quick and cheap as possible have produced a city of roadbeds not adequately prepared to properly deal with the ever-increasing frequency and severity, freeze, and thaw cycles due to our current climate. I don't care about any of that. Your job is to make our roadways drivable and passable. That's it. That's your job. If it's a money problem, then budget for what you can each year and tackle each block by block by block. If it's an infrastructure, complete road redo, then that's what you do that year. Bottom line, though, after a winter, however the winter is, we're going to have potholes. There should be an immediate response team available, ready, and able to fix those potholes quickly. I don't need a meeting for that. I don't need a hearing. I don't need aldermen or whoever, council members. I don't need any of that. This is your job. It's not a workers' rights issue. You're not overworked. You're adequately compensated for the work you do. Get out and do your damn job. That's simple as that. Why is this rocket science? And, you know, all this, the reason I tied it to the 794 thing is for a very specific reason. You got to, I'll explain it to you, but I would like to think that all of us are smart enough to figure this out. It's become sexy to say things like, oh, let's rip 794 down. And they point to the Bucks district, Deer district, all that stuff. Look how great that worked. Fiserv Forum, all the development, new hotel. That's unique to that area. We could have a much different story downtown, taking out that link between 94 and the Hone Bridge and the lakefront. Much different area. And my fear is if you can't fix the potholes, how are you going to maintain a boulevard? How are you going to maintain the roadways there? That's why this stuff matters. That's why you have to think through these things. I don't want to have more hearings about them. For some reason, elected officials of all stripes, all levels, have decided that the public hearing is the way to go and everything. I know there's a requirement for that. Do what's required and then get out of your own way. And please, City of Milwaukee, stop trying to interject workers' rights or more compensation or whatever you're trying to do into a conversation about potholes. Has nothing to do with that. If you don't like working for the City of Milwaukee, County of Milwaukee, go find a job somewhere else. There's plenty of them. Trust me. This is not difficult. So I may oversimplify so that most people can understand what I'm talking about. Bottom line is, when you put together a budget, part of that budget is assessment of your city streets or your community streets, determining how much money you have to spend, then allocating those resources smartly and efficiently to at least fix the minimum. That's all it is. It's not that difficult, folks. That's what I'm saying. The term I would use is we overthink these things. At some point, it's a hole in the road. You throw a patch in it, you run over it a few times, and you go on to the next one. If it's a structural problem with the road, then you have a bigger conversation about doing block-by-block reconstructions, in-house or hiring out. I don't care. Fix the roads. We pay for them. You should fix them. 9:30 is our news time. From our Breaking News Center, Debbie Laziga.
All right, thanks, Steve. A former chairperson of the Wisconsin Parole Commission will no longer be charged with a felony. Prosecutors charged John Tate II just 2 weeks ago for using his position as the Racine Common Council president for his own private benefit. However, a Racine County Circuit Court judge dropped the charges Tuesday without prejudice. The Wisconsin State Patrol is saying setting a dangerous trend is continuing to become more rampant across the state. According to data from TMJ4 News, state troopers have caught more than 4,000 drivers going over 100 miles per hour since 2020. And the Wisconsin Department of Transportation says that is a massive spike compared to previous years. People in Wisconsin looking for work would receive fewer unemployment benefits and face stricter qualification requirements under a package of bills that passed in the Assembly. The measures passed on a strictly party line vote follow a statewide April election in which more than 3/4 of voters supported a non-binding ballot question saying they believe adults should have to look for work to receive government assistance. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Right now, the Dow is down 122 points to 33,408. The NASDAQ is up 90 points to 11,890. And then the S&P 500 is down 3 points to 4,067. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. And taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. We got a string of accidents right now. 194 eastbound at the ramp from 35th Street off on the right shoulder. Then we've also got a crash on the 175 northbound to eastbound ramp in the Stadium interchange. The right lane of that ramp is blocked. And then another issue on 94 eastbound just past 84th Street. On the left shoulder, we've got a crash there, so that's going to be tying things up. There's also still the accident up on the board on 43 southbound at Good Hope Road. Just keep an eye out for that one off on the left shoulder.
Traffic is sponsored by Harwood Place Senior Living.
Learn more about Harwood Place Retirement Living's newly renovated apartments and updated pricing options at our May 10th open house. To RSVP or to schedule a tour, visit harwoodplace.org.
In your WTMJ 5-day forecast today, mostly sunny with a high of 48. Tonight, mostly clear, a low of 35. Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 59 at the lakefront, 61 inland. Then Friday, partly sunny, a high of 58 at the lake, 65 inland. Saturday, rain likely with a high of 56. And Sunday, a chance of rain with a high of 52. Right now in Appleton, it's 40 degrees. Mukwonago, 43. And in Milwaukee, it's 42 degrees. I'm Debbie Lazaga, Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:33.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
St. Vincent de Paul Milwaukee seeks a hands-on facility manager to maintain our thrift store and meal program buildings, grounds, and equipment. In this full-time position with benefits, you'll oversee all facility contracted services and perform light maintenance and repairs to buildings and equipment. Technical training in basic electricity, plumbing, carpentry, and/or mechanical is required, and a degree is a plus. Go to svdpmilw.org to learn more and apply. Good luck.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Who's hungry? Mark your calendar for April 22nd through the 30th for Lake Geneva Restaurant Week. This culinary adventure features dozens of the area's finest restaurants with exclusive menus and special pricing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. From casual cafes to elegant fine dining, the choices are endless as we celebrate Lake Geneva's amazing dining scene. Check out participating restaurants, menus, and all the tasty details at visitlakegeneva.com. Lake Geneva, it's always been the place for distinctive dining.
The long winter is over and April's in the sky. That means heavy showers are on our way. This is Jim Griffin. We've got you covered with spectacular spring service specials. We'll change your oil, inspect and rotate your tires, check the battery and air filter, give it a complete multi-point inspection, check your AC or your heat, even change your wiper blades, all for $129.95. Be ready for the roads when you take advantage of the spectacular spring service specials good at all 5 Griffin dealerships.
Jeff and Roxanne here with Rhino Shield Ceramic Coating. Never paint your house again.
Rhino Shield will keep 100% of the rain and 90% of the heat from penetrating your house.
And it looks just like paint, but will last 5 times longer, and it's guaranteed for 25 years.
And it still comes in any color, as long as it's your wife's favorite.
Get 25% off their 25-year warranty if you book by the 25th. Call 262-900-4055 or visit rhinoshield.com.
Go Rhino Shield!
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
All right, enough ranting about potholes. I'll get back to that at some point. It is one of those little things that just is a nuisance that when people say they're going to do things and they don't do them, it just irritates me. Now, this is kind of a hard pivot, but it's one that I've been talking about recently. And full disclosure, before I introduce my guest, I'm a fan of the flat tax. I'm also a fan of this state, Wisconsin, joining other states to have no state income tax. That's my long-term goal. And my guest joining me in studio, Chris Reeder, Executive Vice President, Institute for Reforming Government. You were actually at a hearing yesterday in Madison talking about this very issue.
Right. And good morning, Steve. Thank you for having us in. Appreciate it. Hearing yesterday on a plan by Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu to institute a flat tax in Wisconsin. Right now we have 4 kind of a progressive income tax system.
Walk us through those levels.
Yep. So it can range from at the low end 3.54%, at the top end at 7.65%. You may recall, if you're paying attention for a little while, that was put in place by Governor Doyle, that very top end, back when the state used to have a deficit. We're clearly in a different place now as a state with a $7 billion surplus. The plan yesterday that was up for hearing was on that flat tax. We testified in support and really talked to the committee about that plan was a way to get Wisconsin into the ball game when we're talking about competing with our neighbors around us here in the Midwest.
I was going to ask you, kind of give us the around us what's happening with taxes in those other states.
So we look at what other states do. Only one state has a higher within our neighbors. Only one state, Minnesota, has a higher top level income bracket. Everybody else is lower. a lot of states, I mean, even Illinois has a flat tax, 4.95%.
Which people,
right?
I don't think people know that. I didn't know that until somebody told me that last week.
They don't, and they actually took it to their voters. The governor in Illinois wanted to institute a tax structure like we have in Wisconsin a couple years ago. They asked the voters, and even the voters in Illinois said that no. Why would we want to do that?
Even the Illinois voters said no.
Right. They didn't want to have a progressive tax system. They understood the flat tax. Regardless of how much you make, you can estimate what you're gonna pay. You have Iowa to our west. They're trying to eliminate their income tax altogether. They've instituted a flat tax. It's gradually coming into play, and their governor is now working on the next step, taking Iowa to a no income tax state, so that they can compete with Florida, with Tennessee, with states that are actually the receivers right now of population migration, as opposed to Wisconsin, where we're losing out.
Do you think I think this is a means to an end. If we really want to grow, and one of the big stories locally here is growing our population. If we want to grow our states, make it a place where people want to come to, relocate, not just individuals and families, but businesses large and small, what Iowa's doing, what other states like Florida and there's probably, how many other states have zero tax?
There are 9 states right now that don't have an income tax at all.
So why are we lagging here?
Right. Well, and we are, and it gets to the old adage of if you're not moving forward, you're losing out, and that's what's happening in Wisconsin right now. If we look at the last few years, look at our business tax ranking or how we've been stagnated, ever since Governor Walker left office in tax structure and tax reform. Other states have been making great strides, and they're moving ahead of us. You have really, it's a war right now for workers. Workers are remote; they can go wherever they want, and states are competing for them. You have, states like Mississippi and Arkansas. They're working towards it. Governor Huckabee Sanders in Arkansas is working on elimination. Even the Democratic governor in Colorado, when asked last year on the campaign trail, what should the tax rate in Colorado be, he said, well, it should be nothing. It should be zero, and he's trying to work in Colorado, a Democrat, to do that.
The trend is moving in that direction. So what do you say to people, and we're joined by Chris Reeder, Executive Vice President at the Institute for Reforming Government, also known as IRG. What do you say to people that say, well, how are we going to pay for stuff if we don't have a state income tax? What's the response?
Yeah, well, first, getting rid of the state income tax is not or doing a flat tax. It's not a game. It's not a sum loss where all of a sudden there's no other income coming into the state. We worked with some UW economists about a year and a half ago. They put forward some modeling on what would happen if Wisconsin would eliminate the income tax. And because we do recognize Wisconsin gets a good amount of income from the income tax, it's over 40%, that would be a big shock to the system. So how do you make some of that up? We had the model out, well, what would happen if we would raise the sales tax just a little bit, 3%, still lower than what you pay in Chicago or Minneapolis or even the no income tax states where people are going to, like Florida, has a higher sales tax than that. If you would do that, no income, a little bit higher on the sales, they modeled out what that would mean for GDP growth. $28 billion in new GDP growth in the state. The state, of course, gets a piece of that. So you have state revenues continue to grow. You have money going into families' pockets. They're spending that money. Sales tax is going up. It really does have a multiplier effect as people have bigger paychecks that they go out and they spend that, and that increases revenue to the state at the end of the day.
What was the reception as people were testifying yesterday at the hearing in front of the Senate Hearing Committee? What was the reception? What were people saying?
Right. So unfortunately, it seems like at least some of the Democrats on the committee were stuck in old arguments. And we don't want to
give me a sense of that. Like what are they saying?
So they were just stuck on tax breaks for the wealthy. They were stuck on
that's a
what are you going to do
point
for the poor.
It's just tiresome.
And that's what they were stuck on. They didn't they don't want to discuss and understand or believe or maybe they just poll tested it and they want to stick with what poll tests, but they don't want to talk about if you take the current person who's paying 3.54%. and knock their tax down to 3.25% or to zero, as I want to do, that helps that person. They want to talk about, but gosh, the person at the top, they're also getting a tax cut, and that's not fair to them. Well, if you're that poor person, why do you don't care? You want to see everybody succeed. That's what we want, is for everyone in Wisconsin to succeed. We want that person at the top, who usually is a small business owner, who's usually going to take that money and pump it back into the system, helping the person at the bottom. It's helpful. So we're focused on how do we grow to the future. Their points, unfortunately, are stuck in kind of a class warfare argument of the past.
And that's what we're trying to blow up, because I think this is a really good idea, and we should be, in my opinion, on our way to removing the state income tax in Wisconsin. You want to grow this state. You want to be a place where a magnet where people want to come to, businesses, individuals, families. That's one of the ways you do it. Chris Reeder joining us in studio, Executive Vice President from the Institute for Reform in Government. We'll take a break. I want to get to some of the nuts and bolts, timelines, governor's response with Chris after this on WTMJ.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Old National Bank is asking businesses to get old. But first, they have questions.
Who runs my business if I get old?
You do. You can get old and remain young.
Is that possible?
With a commercial bank as good as Old National, yes.
What will it feel like to get old?
Well, business owners describe a feeling of euphoria, having local decision-making and committed relationship bankers.
Okay, one old guy coming up.
Introducing Old National Bank, where business relationships and results matter. Old National Bank. Get old. Member FDIC.
It's Jeff Levering for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Up to bat is Pella's award-winning Easy Slide innovation. Look at that effortless horizontal window slide, letting in lots of light. And that roll, it's a double play. Like magic, the screen disappears when the window is closed. On deck is Pella's Reserve Series patio door, featuring the best lifetime warranty in the industry. Just look at that slide. It's a perfect fit. Order by April 30th and get 0% for 48 months at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
For 3 decades, Top Fitness has been the most respected name in home fitness from coast to coast, and now they've opened their newest and largest showroom in Brookfield. Top Fitness has the biggest and best selection of exercise equipment, accessories, and gym flooring to build your perfect home gym. This month, save big during the annual floor model sale. All floor models must go. Save up to 70% off store-wide for a limited time while supplies last. Plus, save up to $1,000 on Precor treadmills and ellipticals. The Top Fitness team of experts can design your dream workout space with a complimentary 3D home gym design, so you can visualize what getting fit in the comfort and safety of your own home will look like. They offer professional delivery and assembly. Plus, for a limited time, enjoy 12 months of interest-free financing. Stop by Top Fitness in Brookfield on Blue Mound Road and online at topfitness.com. Top Fitness, your best choice in home fitness equipment.
If you're looking for the finest of furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
I'm not against shopping online. In fact, you can check out our huge selection at BurkhartSportingGoods.com. But when you're ready to buy, Burkhart should be your only stop. Because here, you can grab hold of the Midwest's largest selection of baseball bats, gloves, and equipment, and take all the swings you need in our indoor batting cages to make sure you buy the right bat. And when you buy your new mitt, we'll steam and custom fit it for you right on the spot. This is Brian Burkhart, and when you love baseball and softball like we do,
You can't beat Burkhart.
if you're in charge of uniforms and equipment, you want to get the most value for your team's budget. You want the most for your money, and you want the process to be easy. Because you already have enough on your plate. We get it. Burkhart Sporting Goods Team Outfitting Division is the best you'll find. With an abnormally high customer satisfaction rate and our own silk screening and embroidery facility for quality control. So if you want the highest quality team outfitting and incredible service,
You can't beat Burkhart.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Talking taxes this morning, my guest in studio, Chris Reeder, Executive Vice President, Institute for Reform in Government, testified in Madison yesterday, a Senate hearing, State Senate, led by Devin LeMahieu on this flat tax proposal. Was it 3.25%? Yeah, his proposal will get us down to 3.25%. There you go. You were off mic there for a second. 3.25%.
Correct.
So a couple things. Governor's response, I don't think he's had one yet to yesterday's hearing, but generally his thought on flat tax or no state income tax. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, so he has stated, at least through his team, that a flat tax was not something he would support. He has not put out a comment that we've seen, at least, on the plan that we had put out a year and a half ago to eliminate. So that one is there's still hope on that one, although, obviously the prognosis for long-term reform with this governor is, we're not going to eliminate it this budget. We'd have to set up steps to get there.
You made a great point in the break, though, that the governor did sign essentially a Republican budget 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, there may be, and If you listen to what the press is reporting, media is reporting that there may be some softening of positions because of elections, which have consequences, as we all know. That perhaps there's a moment here where Wisconsin can have some political clarity on both sides. We can get away from some of those dumb, empty arguments of the past, right, and actually look forward. Again, I don't want to keep overstating this, but there's opportunity here to fix some of the things that ail us. And if we can be a leader on taxation policy in the Midwest, like, I mean, my goodness, Illinois, they beat us to the punch on flat tax. I mean, come on.
Right. Nope. Absolutely. The governor signed the tax cut last year that was put in front of him. It was a $3.5 billion tax cut. $2 billion of that, just under $2 billion, was towards personal income tax. So he's done it before. He might not have been his proposal that he came out of the gates with, but he signed it. And, look what happened. He was able to campaign on it successfully. He, look at the revenues to the state. It has worked. All the predictions that groups like ours say will happen if you cut taxes happened, and that's partly why the state has a really healthy surplus right now. So there is that opportunity. If the right plan is put in front of him, certainly it would have to tackle what he has stated as his priorities. If you look at his budget proposal, it does include a tax cut. It's a tax cut that is brought about through tax credits, largely aimed at people making, on the lower end, 100,000 and under. It doesn't impact the top rates, where we think if you want to drive economic activity, you really need to touch. But he has put together that tax plan. It's, of course, also offset with some tax increases on manufacturers and others that drive the economy that hopefully is a non-starter. But there's a glimmer of hope that last year can be repeated this year with the right tax plan.
So a couple texters alluded to the surplus. So how much of the conversation yesterday in Madison was that surplus and how that might impact these decisions on taxation? Was that a big part of it? Not much?
It wasn't part of the hearing yesterday, but it certainly will be and needs to be in the next 2 months, right? Kind of setting the stage for where the state is. Yesterday's hearing was on that tax plan. At the same time, right now, the state budget committee is working on the overall state budget. So as they balance out a tax cut and where spending for the state goes, that has to be a huge component. Spending in the state has been too high for many sessions. It usually increases faster than inflation. The governor's budget this time takes it way higher, from 89 billion to over 106 billion. But as we look at how do you set good spending constraints into place, how do you fund the priorities, like things that both sides care about, education and hopefully something on mental health and healthcare, and kind of figure out what those priorities are. We have the surplus sitting there that we think should be used to also help fund those priorities, but smooth the way to a significant, bold tax reform, like a flat tax right now, but hopefully that's a pathway towards a future discussion on complete elimination, like what Iowa's doing. Governor Reynolds is doing great things there.
Yes, which, again, they're showing some leadership, and hopefully we have that here in Wisconsin. So I'm a big fan of action plans for many of our listeners, folks who will listen to the podcast, watch us on YouTube TV, whatever. What can we do, regular folks, taxpayers, residents of Wisconsin, to kind of push this forward? Because I know there's a lot of people that love the idea, but again, the idea is one thing. The action plan and getting this passed and signed is the thing. So what can we do?
Yeah. So I think we really do need people to step up and to, it's the most basic function of a citizenry to reach out and talk to your lawmakers. Whether you are at the lower income bracket and you know that getting an extra couple $100 in your paycheck is going to mean a heck of a lot to your family. If you are a small business, and right now 50% of employment in the state is through small businesses. Don't want to bore your audience with stats, but of those small businesses, most of them, 9 out of 10, pay the individual income tax rate. So they're paying at the top level. If folks like that would step up, reach out, tell their story about what they would actually do with that money. There's this myth in Madison that they are just going to sock it away. They're not going to invest. They're not going to hire. They're not going to increase wages. We think they will. The economics says that they will. So the more stories like that can be out there of people saying, yeah, if you take my 7.65% high tax rate as a small business owner and knock that down to 3.25% or hopefully 0 at some point, that is more money to hire, to increase wages, to help grow the economy. That's where that money will go. But right now there's this false belief that people will just pocket that money and walk away with it and not turn it back into the economy.
It's a proposal I think that is long overdue. And again, I'll go back to the point I made at the beginning. This is a chance to be a leader on this issue in the Midwest and to be a state as strong and as awesome to live in as Wisconsin, live, work, play, and have a zero state income tax. You want to show leadership? That's one of the ways you do it. So I think my thanks to Chris Reeder, Executive Vice President, Institute for Reform and Government, for showing up in Madison yesterday, testifying, and leading the kind of holding the banner for, at least at this point, a flat tax. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Steve.
We'll take a break. You're listening to WTMJ.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ. 8th series of the year, and these young guns are earning their stripes. The Brewers take on the Tigers today. Our Brewers Radio Network Game Day coverage starts today at 12:05. Presented by American Family Insurance. We are the home of the Brewers. They're great. WTMJ.
Oh, hello there. Hi, I'm Sandy Max. That's London calling and Liverpool. Come with me on a special getaway called The Beatles and More, an England adventure. From Big Ben to the Beatles' hometown, we'll visit London landmarks and tour Liverpool. Then explore England from Windsor to Stonehenge and more. Our personal travel expert, Steve Bertrand, makes our traveling easy by taking care of every aspect of our arrangements. Get more information. Email me, sandy@wtmj.com, or call 847-606-6065.
What's wrong?
I've got a problem.
Want to sit and talk about it?
Okay. Ooh, this sofa's nice.
It's the Benjamin sofa from Penny Mustard. So what's your problem?
I love the classic look, and I can't believe how comfortable it is.
Enough about the Benjamin sofa.
Whoa.
Why are you so testy? Sorry, I guess I'm dealing with my own problems.
Want to sit and talk about it?
Okay. Ooh, this sofa is nice. The Benjamin sofa, starting at $25.19 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
For your new roof, we'll give you the hands-down best lifetime workmanship warranty in the industry. You can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
CPAP is one option that can be used to keep the throat open at night. It can work. There are other ways of keeping that airway open other than the machine. Another option that most people have never heard of is an oral appliance. An oral appliance is like a retainer that you wear when you're sleeping at night. It's super slim, slides in your mouth, and what it does is it helps to keep your airway open. That's exactly what a CPAP machine does. Most people who are good candidates for a CPAP machine to treat their sleep apnea are also good candidates for an oral appliance. Most of those people never get offered an oral appliance. Advent has decided to change the practice of medicine in this country by offering oral appliances to our patients. And what that means is we are allowing our patients to have the choice of a CPAP machine or oral appliance when they have sleep apnea, and that's a big deal.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventNows.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
You know, somebody asked me in the break there on the text line. You can join us as well as they just did on the Old National Bank talking text line 855-616-1620. Why I spent the time on this, because realistically the governor's not going to sign it, because I'm looking for opportunity here. I spent a little bit of the show yesterday talking about the softening of relationships between, in this case, the minority leader and the Speaker of the Assembly, Robin Vos, Greta Neubauer, and it's a moment. And again, with a flat tax, even for the lowest level income earners, theirs still goes down. And this idea that we should continually, and Chris made a great point, it's always about painting this as helping the wealthy. Well, unfortunately, the reality is, this is the hard lesson, tough love. Those who make money probably pay a lot of the taxes. They drive investment in small business, large business. That's where that happens. Where the rubber meets the road. Hopefully not a pot field pothole-filled road. So if there's indeed a softening or an understanding, maybe Democrats can come around and say, you know what, maybe we should look at our taxation policy in the state. We have a $7 billion surplus. Can we not all agree that we're taking too much of our money? How is that controversial? And I'm sorry, if I'm going to hear the same old tired talking points, oh my God, another tax break for the wealthy. Sorry, they pay more taxes. You think I like writing a check to the federal government every year at tax time? No. But you know what? I do it. Am I happy about it? No. But I do it. And in the state of Wisconsin, we have a surplus. We have an opportunity. And if you're going to complain about, well, people don't want to move here, business don't want to relocate here, well, then you have to take action to change that reality. And I'm looking at the text line, and I'm seeing the same old tired arguments. And that's, to me, intellectually lazy. I'm sorry, it is. Here's an opportunity. Here's a moment. We can shine as a state and do something radically different. Not just flat tax, which is a hard get, but zero state income tax. Let's start being a place where people want to go to. Or this, because I have friends who have moved out of the state because of taxes. A place where people want to come to because we don't have state income tax. That's the reason why you talk about it. That's why I get passionate about it. It's not that difficult, really. We'll take a break. Lots more to get to. We've got more guests in the 10 o'clock hour. It's a guest-friendly day today, which is a good thing. Join us after this.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Trees on the Move, offering ideas for outdoor living and beautifying yards with landscape consultation, design, and installation, including retaining walls, paver patios, tree trimming, and more. Trees on the Move has been offering landscape services for over 43 years, and now offering stamped and colored concrete drives, patios, and sidewalks. Beautify your yard this year with Trees on the Move. TreesOnTheMove.com.
Planning to planting, Trees on the Move.
In Wisconsin, making memories together is for everyone, whatever your ability. So here's to soaking up surf culture right here on Wisconsin's Fresh Coast. To making time for stargazing as a family. And to imaginations cleared for takeoff. Here's to festies with besties. And singing along to your favorite song. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Start your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
What's better than the look and feel of real leather? The amazing prices at Steinhafels.
One last chance to make it big.
Rebound taken by Giannis, and then he throws it down with a vicious one-hand slam.
Our Game 5 coverage of the Bucks and the Heat starts tonight at 7:30 with Bucks Shoot Around. We are the home of the Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 10 o'clock, 41 degrees, the high in the 40s today from the WTMJ Breaking News Center. I'm Eric Bilstad. It's a day you see plenty of denim. Denim Day today, an important reason you're seeing those wearing jeans on this Wednesday.
We need to dispel these myths that no matter what you're wearing, it is not an invitation to be sexually assaulted.
Angela Mancuso, executive director of the Women's Center in Waukesha, encourages the worldwide Denim Day mission of awareness designed to educate about the dangers of sexual violence and end victim blaming, which can come in the form of these questions.
What were you wearing? Why did you go to that party? Were you flirting? What did you do to instigate that person having interest in you? You know, and it's like sexual assault or any form of violence is never the victim's fault. Never.
Sandy Max, WTMJ News.
In Milwaukee, a new proposal taking a look at reimagining the city and its neighborhoods.
That proposal by the city of Milwaukee will reimagine Interstate 794's barrier between downtown Milwaukee's east side, the lakefront, and the historic Third Ward. According to the Milwaukee Business Journal, the plan will focus on eventually replacing the interstate with at-grade streets streets. Additionally, MacArthur Square, a longtime dead zone next to the Milwaukee County Courthouse, will get another redevelopment push, with the adjacent Milwaukee Public Museum planning its 2026 move. The proposal also discusses redesigning both the Water Street Entertainment District and the parking garage for the Marcus Center of Performing Arts. Finn Askin, WTMJ News.
Aaron Rodgers will be introduced to the media later today as a New York Jet. That news conference at 1 o'clock. You can hear it live on our sister station 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. Meanwhile, Rodgers saying goodbye to the fans and to the team of Green Bay, posted a long Instagram message. We do have that on our website. You can text the word Rodgers to the Old National Bank talk and text line 855-616-1620. We'll send it back to you if you are interested. President Biden and his South Korean counterpart are set to sign an agreement today that includes plans to have U.S. nuclear-armed submarines docked in South Korea. It would be for the first time in more than 40 years. We're going to discuss this at the White House today. Meanwhile, a highly advanced fighter weapon system coming to the 115th Fighter Wing in Madison.
The ability to see and hear and know what's going on all around them, truly in 3 dimensions. I mean, the helmet on this machine is just amazing.
Retired Lieutenant Jim Gingras says the F-35 is a major upgrade to the F-16. The first of 20 arrived at Truex Field in Madison on Tuesday.
There's a whole suite of people that are doing logistics, supply, maintenance, all of the things that go forward to make these missions happen. It's a giant team.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Barbie introducing its first doll representing a person with Down syndrome. Mattel working with the National Down Syndrome Society to create the Barbie doll, which is part of the toy company's Fashionistas line aimed at increasing diversity and inclusion. Sports, traffic, and weather next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:03.
This report sponsored by Mr. Holland's Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit MrHollandsHeatingandAir.com.
Don't be fooled. Some so-called professionals are ready to pull a fast one to get your money. But do you really need what they're pushing? Or are they shilling to fill a sales quota? And once the money clears your account, who can you count on for service? This is April Fool's Month, so don't be bamboozled by fast-talking, fancy-pants salesfolk pressuring you to do something that sounds too good to be true. If you're searching for a trustworthy source for a new comfort system, water heater, or an electrical upgrade, give Mr. Holland's Home Services a call. Our team can walk you through all the options and answer every question so that you can make an informed decision. Plus, with Mr. Holland's upfront pricing, the price we say is the price you pay. No pressure, no hidden fees, no fooling. Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. If you're ready for more cool and less fool, we can help.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, back to report even more home buyers paid over the asking price last month, rising to 50% in the 5-county metro area. 3 out of 10 paid $10,000 or more above that list price. The good news is appraised values are generally keeping up with the over-asking offers. Still, the most powerful thing a buyer can do to make their offer the most attractive in a multiple offer situation is to give the seller some appraisal wiggle room. Telling the seller you're willing to pay over the asking price, even if the house appraises lower, sounds scary because most buyers think they have to fill that potential gap with more down payment. But in the vast majority of cases, AccuNet is showing home buyers how they can offer appraisal wiggle room without bringing a nickel more to closing. Appraisal wiggle room is like a good card trick. You need to see it to believe it. So if you're home shopping with a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval, upgrade today to an AccuNet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Aaron Rodgers says goodbye. The now former Green Bay Packers quarterback bid adieu to the Packers organization and all of his fans in a lengthy series of Instagram posts on Tuesday night. You can see it right now at WTMJ.com. As for the Packers, they turn their focus to Thursday night's NFL draft. They now hold the 13th overall pick. In baseball, the Brewers have lost 3 in a row now after Tuesday night's 4-3 loss to the Tigers. The Crew trying to salvage the series today. Coverage here on WTMJ starts at 12:05. And in basketball, it is all on the line tonight. Bucks, Heat, Game 5, Giannis and Milwaukee facing elimination. Coverage of tonight's critical Game 5 here on WTMJ starts at 8 o'clock. I'm Brian D., WTMJ Sports.
Your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Trouble spot right now is 94 eastbound. This is east of the Zoo interchange, right around 84th Street. The left shoulder is blocked. So they're in the shoulder, but still very slow. You're kind of creeping along in that stretch. So you can expect a 5-minute delay, if not a little bit more, as it ebbs and flows there, heading east on 94, right around 84th Street again as you're heading into downtown. 4145 southbound is looking good from Highway Q to the Zoo. That's on time, delay-free at the moment. That is a 15-minute ride. 43 southbound, Round Deer Road into downtown. So far, so good. We're told there is a crash near Good Hope Road that has the left shoulder blocked on the southbound side of things. Again, it's not causing too much delay at the moment, but something to be mindful of. And finally, 94 northbound from Layton into the city, looking good, 7 minutes.
Traffic is sponsored by Harwood Place Senior Living.
Learn more about Harwood Place Retirement Living's newly renovated apartments and updated pricing options at our May 10th open house. To RSVP or to schedule a tour, visit harwoodplace.org.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny today, a high of 48. Tonight, clear sky, a low of 35. For Thursday, partly cloudy, a high of 61 inland. Friday, sunny, a high of 65 degrees inland, cooler along the lake. Saturday, rain is likely, a high of 56. Sunday, a chance for rain and a high of 52 degrees. Right now, in Madison, it's 44. Green Bay's at 50. Waukesha, 43. Milwaukee, 43 degrees. I'm Eric Bilstead, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:08.
Breaking down the biggest stories, talking about what really matters, and bringing you the biggest forum to let your voice be heard. Now, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, here's Steve Scaffidi.
Welcome, 10 o'clock hour, WTMJ, broadcasting live from the Avenue Studios in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Yes, we have potholes. Going back to my earlier conversation. Yes, we have taxation issues. So here's I just want to talk about this briefly because I have a guest coming in a few minutes. So whenever you talk about taxes, it's inevitable that I get these kinds of texts. Well, you're just standing up for the rich people in the state. No, I'm not. I want everyone to pay less. Look, there's no magic formula. So if you got a situation, if you have a situation, I should say. Good English is important. Good grammar as well. If you have a situation where you take out one form of taxation, of course there's going to have to be a solution to replace that funding or some of the funding. I mean, we're not idiots here. We understand that. So you can go to Florida, use that example, no state income tax. They have other forms of taxation that replace it. Whether that's sales tax, higher cost to renew your vehicle registration. There's a million different ways you can do it. I'm a big fan of consumption tax. If you're consuming things, you should pay for the right. I'm a big fan, by the way, and this has not been something that Milwaukee's been able to take advantage of, largest city in the state, economic engine of the states, that you tap the resources of people who are coming here like I did for all the years I traveled around this great country in the private sector. Many, many trips. I look at my hotel bill. Wow. Got to pay that tax. Conventions, bureaus, and tax districts. Look, they're going to get the money either way. I'm telling you that the economic climate for states that are no tax or low tax is much, much better than the opposite. It has nothing to do with want to prey on poor people. This argument is so silly that I'm actually going to stop referencing them, but I had to because we're talking about taxes. It's just old-fashioned. And when I'm already seeing legislative leaders trotting out it's another tax break for the wealthy. Well, unfortunately, those people pay taxes. They pay more of the taxation. What's the number now? During the pandemic, 60% of Americans paid no federal income tax. That's not sustainable over time. That's ridiculous. And you have to get past that. Everybody pays their fair share. I don't care if you make $10,000 or $100,000. Everybody pays something because then you're vested in the result. You're vested in the product that is government. I'm a less government guy. That's not going to change. And because of my experience leading a local government, which is what we're going to get to in a little bit here, my perception is different. My understanding is different. There's a lot of hacks yakking on radio stations and TV networks have no idea of what goes into a local budget. No idea. And if you're fooled by that, if you're convinced by that, if you are guided by that lack of experience, by a talking blowhard who doesn't know what they're talking about, they say things because they sound good or they're been popular talking points by a political party for decades, then you're not being served. Which is why I'm going to introduce you, not for the first time, to a local county executive from Washington County who will kind of walk through some of this stuff with us, and then also an important story about higher education and the challenges that it's facing in his county. We're going to still do local stories, folks, because they matter. But always with the perspective, how do these things shape the bigger picture, the bigger conversations? That's the difference. Take a break here. After the break, joined by Washington County Executive Josh Schoeman. After this on WTMJ.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Everything you need to know on your way home.
Both officers and the suspect have been identified in the fatal traffic stop in Barron County.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News with John McCure.
At the end of the day, you lost by double digits for the second time. You really ought to know how to lose by now.
Sandy Max.
This really is Louisville's time, and I don't know how long it's going to take to heal from this mass shooting.
And Greg Matzik.
13-0, whether it's 1987 or 2023, is spectacular.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Educators Credit Union. I'm a member. I've told you that story a little bit earlier in the show, and I continue to love their online platform. It is sensational. Some of the other great things they do. We know that being a parent can be busy, hard, difficult. Well, their Mind and Money program from Educators Credit Union provides an easy way for parents to pay allowance, assign chores, and teach financial lessons, all from their phones or computer and with no monthly fees. Children and teens can even receive their own debit card, and parents, get this, can set limits and track their spending. We talk about financial literacy in Financial Literacy Month. They get it at Educator. Win-win. Just another great perk of being a member. Join me. I was a member before I was a spokesperson. Find out more at ECU.com. Federally insured, of course, by NCUA.
Our house needs a lot of work. That roof, siding.
J&J Contractors.
It's not just the outside. The bathroom needs to be completely redone.
J&J Contractors. They do it all with top-of-the-line quality craftsmanship that's all custom or semi-custom. In addition to full interior remodels, J&J Contractors' skilled and certified team members use high-quality materials for all your exterior needs. Roofing, siding, windows, and gutters. Contact them today to schedule a consultation. Just Google J&J Contractors.
To be the best, you have to beat the best. And in order to beat the best, you have to compete with the best. And I'll tell you what, playing with the best equipment doesn't hurt either, especially when it comes to baseball and softball. We truly believe that. And that's why Burkhardt Sporting Goods stocks the Midwest's largest selection of the finest baseball and softball equipment. More bats, more gloves, and more equipment from all the best names. This is Brian Burkhardt, and when you love baseball and softball like we do,
You can't beat Burkhardt.
if you plan on draining buzzer beaters, the place to start is Burkhardt, where you'll find a great selection of shoes and court gear. But what's going to turn you into the next big thing on the court is practice. And there's no better place to do it than on your own court. Having your own hoop is an absolute must to hone your shot. And we'll help you get there with a great selection of basketball hoops and accessories. This is Brian Burkhardt, and I promise you, when you love basketball like we do,
You can't beat Burkhardt.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
All right, we are back here at WTMJ. Not that we went anywhere. Thanks to all of you for tuning in, however you find us over the air, online, podcast, all good. So if you listen to the show regularly, you know that my next guest, Josh Schoeman, Washington County Executive, joins me monthly, kind of talking about some of the issues you're facing. One of the things I mentioned before the break, Josh, was I want people to understand from my perspective as a local leader and from yours that there's a lot of things that happen locally that have much broader impact. And we're going to start with education because you gave me a report, and it's news of a task force in Washington County looking at community colleges and how they function. And you were telling me during the break, this is a problem, attendance and enrollment dropping significantly over the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's been significant really the last decade, but if you start looking forward to the decade to come, it's going to be even worse. And we're seeing it play out in real time. Concordia University shut down a number of their satellite campuses. Of course, Cardinal Stritch is the big news most recently. The University of Wisconsin system closed down, ostensibly closed down the UW Richland campus in Richland Center, southwestern Wisconsin. And so we were trying to be proactive. The demography isn't great. The number of youth, currently they're graduating about 500 students a year out of West Bend schools, and they're bringing in 350 kindergartners. I mean, the math just doesn't work.
All right, so in reality, that's something that we have to face. So some of my friends in the manufacturing community would say, well, that's just being lean and mean, right? You're focused on the core group of people who want to do this. Is this a reality that smaller universities, local universities are just going to have to face? And I think that's probably what your task force is there for.
Very much so. I mean, local government, Oak Creek, you got to get focused on what you're going to be very good at, and you can't try to be all things to all people. But with the things that are left, you want to be exceedingly good at. And I think that's where we're at with higher ed, especially the two-year campuses, just in general across the country. They are in the crosshairs. I mean, you can go out, as you know, you can go out and make $25 an hour graduating from high school as long as you show up on time and pass a drug test. That's tough for a kid who's 2-year college eligible. So we've got some challenges we got to face here and look at doing it smarter, not harder.
So what are some of the things the task force is looking at? Some of the considerations that say we can possibly stop this enrollment drop or maybe move the needle in the other direction?
Yeah, in West Bend and in Washington County in particular, we have something unique. We've got a 2-year UW campus and we've got a 2-year technical college, and they're about 3-4 miles apart from one another. And what really has changed things in recent years is the UW system has allowed the technical colleges to get into the liberal arts track game. That hasn't historically been the case in the state of Wisconsin, and now that they've allowed for that and easy direct transfers from the tech schools to the UW, now that exists, we've got 2 publicly funded institutions doing largely the same function. And so how do we streamline resources and give kids a better product that should serve the kids, the community, and businesses much better? Because let's face it, in the next decade, whoever can figure out how to keep their kids and maybe steal 1 or 2 from the adjoining state, they're going to win the prosperity game for the next 50 years.
So I imagine that's what the task force is doing, but what are some of the areas they're looking at early on in the process?
Yeah, so it really boils down to having really good communication with really 3 entities and working their way from the state, the highest levels of the state, down to the local level. So the legislature and the governor's office down to the county level, the state technical college system down to Moraine Park Technical College, and the UW system down to UWM. We literally just came from a meeting with the chancellor's office, and it's all about how do we collaborate together to deliver an outstanding product to the kids, businesses, and community in a way that isn't duplicating resources and wasting it. As you know, we just don't have sufficient funds to be able to do this. So how do we do it really well in a very specific kind of a way?
Washington County Executive Josh Shulman joining me in studio. I want to get to a bunch of different things, but on this issue, I mentioned lean and mean, and I've got texts that say the same thing. Well, this is just a culling of maybe a part of our educational system that needed to be shrunk. I mean, do you buy that?
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what it is. And let's be honest. I mean, these institutions, the 2-year campuses in particular in this case, started 60 years ago or so. And that's an era when, the population was booming, the number of youth was booming. Even when they were holding their highest enrollment rates, which was only a decade ago, right in the middle of the Great Recession, it was a whole different demography, a demographic. Today and in the next 10 years, it's going to be something totally different. So how do we adapt and change? And you've lived it. government doesn't do that real well.
No, they're slow to adapt.
Very
They're slow to
slow.
change. And they love, the common phrase that used to drive me nuts is, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sometimes you got to break it and redo it just to be more efficient and save tax dollars.
That's right.
Because they're tighter than ever. We're going to take a break. We're joined by Washington County Executive Josh Showman. Lots more to get to. Taxation. We spent some time earlier in the show talking about that. I just want to get the sense from you on where Washington County is right now. All the things we talk about, taxation's part of that, quality of life, population. We talked a lot in the state recently on this show about getting people to come to Wisconsin. I want to get your thoughts on that. Our guest joining us in studio. You can join the conversation on the Old National Bank Talk and Text line, 855-616-1620.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
It's a new era for the green and gold.
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
And we're hitting the ground running on night one of the draft. Join us as we broadcast live from Q Club of Wisconsin on Thursday night starting at 6. Homer Tausch, Jason Wilde, Ben Brust, and the full Jen, Gabe, and Chewy crew will be reacting to the picks and talking about the future in Green Bay. Draft night on 620 WTMJ, live from Q Club of Wisconsin in Waukesha.
Hey, this is Bo stepping in for Ridgetop Larry. Ridgetop Exteriors is Wisconsin's #1 choice for roofing, siding, windows, and doors. We are the trusted local experts who live and work in the areas we serve, which means we're helping friends and neighbors too. On top of that, Ridgetop Exteriors offers the most affordable payment options, including no interest and low interest financing. For your free estimate, visit ridgetopexteriors.com. Roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Visit ridgetopexteriors.com.
With inflation on the rise, Wisconsinites are hurting at the gas pump, at the grocery store, and to pay their bills. Now big city lobbyists are pushing for potentially massive property tax hikes, which would put a further burden on your already stretched thin wallet. They are coming after the local property tax levy freeze that has saved taxpayers more than $3.5 billion since 2011. Property taxes are already Wisconsin's most onerous tax, and their proposal would make it worse. Right now, you control your property tax increases by voting in local referenda. The big city lobbyists want to take away your control and allow property taxes to increase automatically without your approval. We must stop this attempt to thaw the property tax freeze. Call your legislator at 800-362-9472 and let them know you appreciate their efforts to protect your hard-earned money. Paid for by the Wisconsin Homeowners Alliance.
All Brewers games are on sale now, including a star-studded battle with the Angels on deck for April 28th through the 30th. Witness some of baseball's biggest names go head-to-head as Corbin Burns and the crew face off against Shohei Ohtani and the Angels. Plus, take home a limited edition Brewers hoodie at the game on Saturday the 29th. Get your seats today at brewers.com/promotions.
If you have joint pain and they're telling you surgery is your best option, you gotta stop what you're doing and call QC Kinetics. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Professionals at QC Kinetics use the latest, most advanced regenerative treatments to bring lasting pain relief the natural way. Regenerative medicine harnesses your own body's healing agents to restore and repair damaged tissue in your knees, your hips, shoulder, back. Precision treatments. They're all done in office, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics has hundreds of clinics all over America and thousands of satisfied patients. If your joints are aching from arthritis or injury, look beyond steroids and surgery. Discover the amazing possibilities with regenerative medicine, especially this time of year. We all want to be living life to the fullest, doing the stuff that we love the most. And if you can get lasting relief and avoid going under the knife, well, it makes sense to check it out, right? Call QC Kinetics now. It's a free consultation, no obligations. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Hey, don't wait. 414-285-3474.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
We are joined in studio by Washington County Executive Josh Showman. He's a monthly guest, and I encourage you, if you are a local leader, and I've reached out to a bunch, if you want to be part of this program, part of the kind of the re-education of the challenges that are out there. And I always tell people, remind them, this is not a political argument. I can find conservative local leaders and very liberal local leaders. Many of the things they talk about are the same issues. So put that out of your mind. Josh, I want to ask you, just give me a general state of affairs. We have a lot of listeners on WTMJ in your county. State of affairs, Washington County, budgets, population, what's the trends look like?
Yeah, we've known for a decade that finances at the local level, local government revenue was broken, and we've been slowly taking the large focus of county government and bringing it down to very few things and getting really good at that. If you've ever read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, the hedgehog theory is what we've really been focused on. And that has put us in a good position where, we really believe, I believe strongly in tax levy freezes, because we've been hearing for 20 years people are sick and tired of property taxes.
Right.
And we still need to have high-quality roads, high-quality public safety, high-quality access to basic needs through social service programs. And so that's what we've been trying to do. We actually passed a resolution a few years ago already that we oppose any changes to the levy law. And the shared revenue thing that's being talked about, I think, is right up our alley. It's an incentive to locals to try to create more economic growth and activity. That's a positive.
So what's your sense of the conversations in Madison about shared revenue and how they may address some of these challenges? And what are you hearing as a local leader?
Yeah, I'm super optimistic. First of all, the fact that the governor has talked about it openly and publicly, the legislative leadership has talked about it openly and publicly. Although they seem to be talking past each other, they're saying a lot of the same things. I think nothing but good can come of that. I'm very optimistic. It's not going to be a silver bullet. I know here locally in Milwaukee, in the northern part of the state, they want the state to fix an issue that's been going on for 20 years. It's just not realistic. It's not going to happen. But making massive progress on the types of proposals that we heard Speaker Voss come out and talk about yesterday, and some of the things that seem to be leaking out of those caucuses, I think we're talking about some of the biggest reforms we've seen in my lifetime in local government revenue. And as you said, that's where you see government in real time. The pothole in front of your house, the garbage collection that goes by when you pick up 911, you're calling somebody local. The things that happen at the state capitol or in Congress, I mean, you don't feel it every day. Our stuff you feel all the time.
So if you're listening, we were talking about potholes earlier. What's the pothole situation in Washington County right now?
Well, our locals are certainly struggling with it. But in Washington County, when I said we're focused on this hedgehog theory, really getting good at just a few things, this was one of them. If you remember the Just Fix It campaign, the Scott holes,
right?
We actually went ahead and inventoried every road that the county owns and then put dollars to over the next 30 years. What will it cost for us to do every type of maintenance you could think of? Crack filling, seal coating, paving, reconstruction. And then we fully funded all of it. We redirected resources from other spots. So we're in great shape. Our municipalities, not quite the same situation.
I love that because you identified the problem, you found out how much it was going to cost, and then you actually had an action plan to fix it. How enlightening and refreshing that is to hear that actually happens in politics. Amazing. So we're going to keep you through the break. I got to give you some love from a texter. Shout out to Washington County and Dodge County Health and Human Services Department. I personally know 2 people that are alive and in recovery from addiction because of those resources, and people need to know this is an option.
I love it.
That's
awesome.
Great. All right, our news time is 10:30 from our breaking news center, Mr. Eric Bilstead.
Thank you, sir. Happening now in downtown Milwaukee.
I can't thank you enough for coming out, sharing your resources, sharing your time.
Alderwoman Larissa Taylor among those discussing Denim Day today, raising awareness around sexual violence and sexual assault. Denim Day taking place today if you see more folks wearing jeans. Potholes will be on the agenda as the Milwaukee Public Works Committee gets underway this morning to discuss some of the issues they're dealing with on the roadways. A new proposal by the city of Milwaukee will reimagine I-794's barrier between downtown Milwaukee and the historic 3rd Ward. That, according to the Milwaukee Business Journal, that plan will focus on eventually replacing the interstate with ground-level streets. And Aaron Rodgers is going to be introduced today as a New York Jet, going to happen at 1 o'clock Central Time. If you'd like to hear it, we'll have that news conference on our sister station, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. He did say goodbye to Packers Nation yesterday on Instagram. We do have that posted on our website. If you'd like to see that, just text the word Rodgers to the Old National Bank Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. We will send it back to you. Time now for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. So far, mixed bag on Wall Street. The Dow is down 7 to 33,523. The NASDAQ is up 139 to 11,938. The S&P is up 12 to 4,084. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Checking your roads now. The Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Issue we were watching earlier was 94 eastbound. Still slow in this spot. This is right around 84th Street. So the left lane's now blocked because of this crash. So you're getting by on the right-hand side. You are getting through it, but it is a slow, tight ride through that stretch. So you can expect maybe 5 to 6 minute delays through there as they deal with that situation. Elsewhere, looking okay. 4145 South, Highway Q to the Zoo. That's on time. That's 15. 43 southbound Brown Deer Road into downtown. No problem there. An accident near Good Hope Road isn't causing any issues. That's been cleared. Finally, 94 northbound from Layton into the downtown area. 7-minute trip right on time.
Traffic is brought to you by the senior real estate specialists at brucesteam.com. With you every step of the way. From downsizing to selling the long-time home, the senior real estate specialists at Bruce's Team are with you every step of the way. 262-242-6177.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast for today. Sunny, high of 48. Tonight, clear sky, a low of 35. Thursday, partly cloudy tomorrow. There's a high of 61 inland. Friday, a high of 65 inland. Saturday, rain likely, a high of 56. Sunday, a chance for rain and a high of 52. Right now in Milwaukee, 43. I'm Eric Bilstead, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:33.
After the break, continuing our conversation with Washington County Executive Josh Shulman. Questions from Washington County after this.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Life's more rewarding at Blaine's Farm and Fleet, especially during our great outdoor event. Right now, get unbeatable deals on a variety of outdoor essentials, like Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action. It prevents crabgrass, kills weeds, and feeds your lawn all in one bag. Right now, Triple Action is on sale for $86.99 with up to 12,000 square feet of coverage. Plus, Blaine's Rewards members get a free $15 Farm and Fleet gift card with $100 spent on Scott's products. Shop our new Blaine's Farm and Fleet store in Grafton, located at 1771 Wisconsin Avenue.
It's the Commercial Real Estate Minute, presented by CarW.com.
Investing in real estate is less science than it is art, especially in today's financing environment. With rising interest rates, changing debt requirements, and increasing volatility in the market, commercial real estate is still one of the most stable, long-term hedges against inflation. But getting the deal done now requires more creativity than ever, especially in sourcing capital where there are sensitivities to time. Traditional and non-traditional financing from national, regional, and local sources may not be adequate, and private funding may not be an option. Your lending and brokerage partners will help you evaluate your asset and explore all avenues for financing, including CMBS or mezzanine structures that diversify your offer and strengthen your deal. Knowledge and expertise, just like financing, comes from multiple sources. Leverage your commercial real estate partners now to secure your investment in the future.
For more commercial real estate market insights, visit CarW.com.
The long winter is over and April's in the sky. That means heavy showers are on our way. This is Jim Griffin. We've got you covered with spectacular spring service specials. We'll change your oil, inspect and rotate your tires, check the battery and air filter, give it a complete multi-point inspection, check your AC or your heat, even change your wiper blades, all for $129.95. Be ready for the roads when you take advantage of the spectacular spring service specials good at all 5 Griffin dealerships.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Continuing our conversation with Washington County Executive Josh Shulman, and this is kind of what I anticipated. I love the fact that people are listening always, but then people have specific questions for my guests, and I want to just pass a couple on to you. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, people are selling property. They always sell property in your county or others. They're asking about the opportunity for big companies coming to the West Bend area or Washington County. You're always looking for that.
Yeah, of course. Our economic development has been really robust lately. People probably notice big things like Briggs and Stratton or Milwaukee Tool, which is relatively new in the last few years to West Bend area. But Drexel Business Supply is actually building a new facility up in Kewaskum. That should be happening. As a matter of fact, the Joint Review Board just approved, I think, Monday, that project to happen. So there's a lot of activity, lots of growth of our local companies, too. So a lot of exciting things going on.
The other one I get a lot whenever I have a guest on it as well is, so how would you rate the state of affairs when it comes to like services? We've talked about the challenges for anybody, any municipality, villages, cities, towns, and certainly counties. Given the levy freeze, you're still getting the work done? How has it changed, adapted? You can talk about it in any perspective: garbage, snow plowing, or even salting. How has that changed or adapted over the last 10 years?
Yeah, I think the big thing we've done differently in Washington County is look for ways to create collaborations and partnerships. So a really good example is the Washington Ozaukee Public Health Department, which was really featured during COVID, just like so many other public health departments doing great work. But that consolidation gave us two things. It saved us about $300,000 per year, which is fantastic. Those resources can go to other important programs and priority projects. And then maybe more importantly, it gave us an economy of scale that otherwise we wouldn't have. The resources to really be responsive. Of course, it was done before the pandemic, but the pandemic proved it was a vital interest to Washington and Ozaukee County to have that robust of a department, which otherwise would have been, two much smaller versions that couldn't have been as responsive. So, we were able to do that there. We were able to do it with medical examiner over in Waukesha County. And, as you're hearing different proposals coming on shared revenue and local funding just in general, I think that's what local leaders have an obligation to look for, is how do we get the biggest bang for the buck? I think, as Speaker Voss has said, there's got to be some reform that goes along with new revenue because there's just not enough resources. I mean, people are taxed enough already. How do we use the resources we have better, become more efficient? We don't need to have 5 dispatch centers. We don't need to have 15 public health departments or whatever it is in Milwaukee County.
Popular term back when I was mayor was consolidation.
Yeah.
Right. So is that still on everybody's front of mind?
I think it is. I think people recognize that we can absolutely be more efficient and effective. I think it's a matter of how do we get to that. And as I'm sure you're familiar with, you deal with some fiefdoms and some protection of people's own territory. And the less of that we have, the better. And I hope to see some opportunity for us to be able to do that and be incentivized to do it.
All right, so we'll wrap with this as a local leader, county executive, Washington County. Biggest frustration right now, and don't just give me the budget thing because they could say that all the time. Biggest frustration and the thing you're most excited about. We'll start with the frustration, then we'll end with the good one.
I think the thing I'm most frustrated with is people protecting their territory and not looking big picture strategically at how do we solve problems, not looking backwards, but looking forward. The world is changing drastically. The demographics for our country are not great, and the only one worse off than us is China. So let's start thinking collaboratively and futuristically and less looking back to 1970.
All right, what are you excited about? Washington County excitement.
I'm excited for a next new generation of leadership, a new way of looking at problems, old problems, and putting new solutions on them. I'm excited to be the president of the Washington County or the Wisconsin County Executives and Administrators Group, and I think we've done a lot of really positive work. I feel like we've been an important part of bringing the shared revenue package to the point it was at. Certainly, legislative and gubernatorial leadership are needed to make that happen, but I think bringing that next generation of leadership, we've got a president who's almost 80 years old. We've got someone on the Republican side who's late 70s. We've got a governor who's early 70s. I think we just need a new generation of leaders, and those are up and coming, and I'm proud to be part of it. And folks like County Executive Crowley as well. I think it's positive things for the state of Wisconsin and for our country.
It's a perfect segue to my last listener question. Any political ambition beyond county executive?
I'm up for re-election in April. I gotta get that done.
Oh, that was perfect. Thanks as always. I love the local leaders, as you know, and I love the fact that you come in and talk about all these issues because they're all important. We started with community education, certainly the challenges for local colleges in the state of Wisconsin. Not going to get any easier, but you got a task force working on it. And again, thanks for the great local leadership.
Yeah, appreciate it. We got to get our kids to stay here and to move back and bring someone from Illinois or Minnesota with them.
Good stuff. County Executive, Washington County, Josh Schoen. We'll do it again next month.
Thanks for having me.
Quick break on WTMJ.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Let's take a minute of R&R. R&R Insurance, that is. R&R Insurance provides employee benefits to all of us here at Good Karma Brands. Business insurance is getting more complex these days. To share some knowledge is Jeff Salasinski, VP of Insurance Operations at R&R Insurance.
Yeah, Vince. Today's commercial insurance market is more complex than ever, and it demands the sharp focus of your insurance advisor. R&R Insurance is focused on sharing strategies with our clients about business insurance. The devastating impact of catastrophic storms in the Midwest and South, along with inflation, are driving prices higher, not to mention the complexity of cybercrime. If your agent's not discussing these important risk management topics and options with you, you're putting your business in jeopardy.
So, Jeff, what's the solution?
As the knowledge brokers, we bring deep industry knowledge and 48 years of local ownership and stability to today's market. R&R Insurance is focused on you, the client, and protecting everything you've worked so hard for. At R&R Insurance, we know business insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
She's been praised for a technique that is bold and modern, yet restrained. And now you can experience the astonishing virtuosity of pianist Joyce Young as she performs Mozart's epic Piano Concerto No. 24 with the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra May 5th and 6th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Only a limited number of tickets remain to hear this audience favorite, so call the box office right now to reserve yours at 414-291-7605 or online at mso.org. Yaniv Denur will conduct the MSO in this program, which also features Dvorak's evocative tone poem In Nature's Realm and Ludoslavsky's folkloric Concerto for Orchestra. In Nature's Realm, Joyce Young plays Mozart runs May 5th and 6th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Visit mso.org for tickets or call 414-291-7605.
Total Wine & More. With the lowest prices for over 30 years. Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly. B21.
You can't beat Burkhart. Now open in New Berlin.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Differentiation Officer Brian Wickert reminding home shoppers that working with AccuNet is different and better than working with your bank. Most bank pre-approvals state they've only verified the potential home buyer's credit, but not their income or money for down payment. To us, that's just crazy. AccuNet's rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval tells the seller we've checked out all three aspects of your financial health, and that will pay $2,000 if our pre-approval is faulty. Banks don't do that, but they do have a lot of overhead with all their vice presidents and fancy branches. We keep overhead low, which means lower rates and closing costs that are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks. Most importantly, our loan consultants can show you and your agent how to improve your financing and appraisal contingencies so your offer has the best chance of winning in a multiple offer situation. Hey, don't settle for a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval. Click on the blue button today for your rock-solid, guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Loving the guests today. Kind of a different show. We had a lot of guests on the program, which I love, and they're bringing you real life, real time, real content that changes your life. Just had Washington County Executive Josh Showman on. Now, this one is something I've been stewing over for a while, and as somebody who had an actual unemployment claim filed under my name in a different state, and I had to go through all the process of clearing that mess out. Fraud, consumer fraud, and the ways that we can be taken advantage of by impersonators. I have a relative who's dealing with this right now. Joining us on the phone is Matt Schultz. He's an attorney, Midwest Office, Federal Trade Commission. Good morning, Matt. Do we have Matt? While we're waiting for that connection, I'll just tell you. So some of the things that we're going to talk about when he gets on the phone line here is how to spot an impersonator scam. So we got a lot of stuff going on. As I mentioned, the family relative is dealing with someone who has assumed their name, is renting apartments for illegal activity, and has done this all around the country. All right, now we have Matt Schultz. Right, Matt?
Good morning.
Hey,
Happy
good
to be
morning.
here. Thanks for having me.
Happy to get back. You're attorney in the Midwest Office for the Federal Trade Commission. So I was just talking about fraud, people impersonating somebody to cheat them, to gain money, funds. So let's talk about some of that. You guys are actively looking at it and soliciting cases to your organization. We'll get to some of the reporting elements of that. But just talk about the issue in general right now. consumers being impersonated or fraud, outright fraud being committed?
Yeah, thanks. Happy to. The FTC is the nation's consumer protection agency, and we collect reports from consumers every year. And we just released data from 2022, and it shows that consumers reported $8.8 billion in losses last year due to fraud, and that's nearly $3 billion higher than the year before. The related news is that reports are down, but the overall losses are up. So unfortunately, when people do send money to scammers, it seems to be more money. Once again, we also saw that impersonator scams were the top fraud that consumers reported.
So define that for everybody.
Scam is where,
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. An impersonator scam is where someone gets in touch with you and tries to, or pretends to be someone you trust. Like it could be a business impersonator where they pretend to be Microsoft or Amazon or another business you're familiar with. It could be a government impersonator where they pretend to be from the IRS or the Social Security Administration, and they call you up, or you get a pop-up on your computer screen and they encourage you to send money immediately.
So you mentioned $8.8 billion of this happening. And so what's the tell for people? So if you see these things, how can you immediately in your brain say this is not real? What's the tells that we should all be looking for?
Sure. There are a few red flags that we tell people about. The first is one I already mentioned, which is acting quickly. Scammers want you to act as quickly as possible to send money. So if you get a call out of the blue, that should be your first red flag. If you weren't expecting to hear from a particular company or a government agency, that's one red flag. And then if they encourage you to send money quickly, either because you need to unlock your account or because you owe money, that should be another red flag. And then another final red flag that we like to tell people to look out for is if someone encourages you to pay with cash or a gift card or a wire transfer, that is another red flag. A government agency, for example, will never ask you to pay a debt with a gift card.
Right. We're talking to Matt Schultz, attorney, Midwest Office for the Federal Trade Commission, about these impersonator scams, fraud being committed sometimes under your name or with your cooperation, whether you know it or not. So we talked about the red flags, the warning signs, the tells that you can pretty much guess it's not real. So what do you do with that information? What is the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, suggesting people do to report that information?
People can visit reportfraud.ftc.gov, and they should do that if they see anything that they think is suspicious. You don't actually have to send money to a scammer to report that you saw a scam. Again, the website where we collect reports is reportfraud.ftc.gov, and we encourage everyone to report whatever they see. It really helps us be able to know how to devote our resources and how to get out there and stop the scammers.
You know, so many of us are comfortable just looking up things online, and I know that I do that all the time, whether it's a question for the show or just everyday life. Is there a resource or a place people can go to just kind of learn about how to educate yourself as a consumer?
Consumer.ftc.gov is a great resource. You can find a ton of information there about scams, about what to do about them, things you can share with family and friends. Another place you can go if you want to sign up for alerts, you can go to ftc.gov/consumer alerts. You'll get messages delivered to your inbox so you know and can share the latest scams, and it might help someone you know avoid it.
Let me ask you this, kind of a big picture question, but on this subject, because I mentioned in the lead-in that I have family members dealing with this, and somebody actually sort of related filled out an unemployment claim under my name in a different state that I was able to track down and stop in his tracks. But what is the federal government, and including your organization, working to kind of clamp down on this happening in the first place? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. One of the things I do is things like this, where I try to get the word out to people so that it stops fraud at the start, and it doesn't happen. But another big part of my job is that the Federal Trade Commission investigates scammers and businesses that may be engaged in deceptive or unfair practices, and we go to court and we file lawsuits. And in those lawsuits, we try to get money back for people, and we try to stop the practices that we have concerns about.
One of the texters also asked about, is this a common problem that people are trying to defraud or trick members of our senior community?
Yeah, people across all age groups, can get scammed. We see reports from people in all age groups and all communities. One thing that we also see is that, unfortunately, that seniors often report higher median losses. So when seniors do get scammed, it can be for higher dollar amounts. But I really want people to understand that this affects everyone. And a related point is that when people do get scammed, it can be sometimes a little embarrassing, but we really encourage people to talk about it and report it. It's one of the ways that we can stop other people from getting scammed. And it's just really important for people to know that it really does happen to everyone.
Yeah, and one more time on the filing report, you can report it at reportfraud.ftc.gov. And if you send me a text at 855-616-1620, I'll send you a quick reply with all the links here that you can find the information where to report and to just get educated on this issue. Matt Schultz, attorney at the Midwest Regional Office of the Federal Trade Commission. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So a lot of wide-ranging conversations this morning. I love it. We'll take a break here. Lots more to get to. Don't forget, Ask Steve Anything coming up in the 11 o'clock or that clock hour. That is your chance, kind of direct the conversation. You can pile on some of the things we talked about earlier. I know today's kind of been a different day with all the guests, but it's nice to take a little break sometimes and hear what the experts, subject matter experts, have to say. We'll take a break. You're listening, of course, to WTMJ.
No puns, no jokes.
Jimmy Butler has been an absolute menace.
It's all business moving forward.
Yeah, we just got to go home and win a game. Life is not complicated. That's what we got to go do.
The Bucks look to keep their season alive in Game 5 against the Heat tonight.
Giannis, a Euro step in, lays it off the window and good with a foul.
Our Bucks Radio Network Game Day coverage starts tonight at 8.
Oh, the Greek Freak coming through.
We are the home of the Bucks. WTMJ.
If you're a veteran, on active duty, reserve, or a military spouse, this is your wake-up call. It's time for basic training to be an entrepreneur. If you've ever wanted to own your own business, the Veterans Business Outreach Center is here for you. Get started today by texting the word VETERAN to 855-616-1620. The Veterans Business Outreach Center helps veterans of all eras. Just text VETERAN to 855-616-1620. The VBOC is an official program of the Small Business Administration and hosted by the Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation.
Do you know the two most beautiful words in the English language?
I sure do. Asphalt and concrete.
There's nothing quite like the sweet smell of freshly paved asphalt.
I'm Jeff Johnson.
And I'm Jason Johnson with Johnson & Sons Paving.
From parking lots to driveways, we do it all.
If you have a project in need of asphalt, concrete, seal coating, or striping, we've got you covered.
Business owners to homeowners, we can help you.
Customer focused, quality driven, and budget conscious. Call us today.
262-251-5585.
JohnsonandSonsPaving.com.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. There are over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and the Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Gruber Offices, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks.
You can't see it, but you sure can feel it. The economy is struggling right now. How might this impact your retirement? This is Tony Drake, founder of Drake & Associates. Some retirement plans take into account economic downturns, stock market dips, and interest rate fluctuations. Does yours? To find out how your retirement could be impacted, request your Retirement Ready Toolkit from my team at Drake & Associates by calling or texting recession to 414-404-4994. This toolkit will provide helpful retirement information and give you strategies to move forward. Request your Retirement Ready Toolkit to find out ways you can prepare now for your retirement. Call or text recession to 414-404-4994.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Law Financial Group, LLC. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply any level of skill or training.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, don't forget, that's what Steve said, every Thursday for your chance to win a Mine Shaft gift card. The Mine Shaft restaurant, locally family-owned, most affordable restaurant for more than 46 years. And because we do it on Thursday, every Thursday, buy one pizza, get second pizza free. Mine Shaft, beautiful main streets, beautiful downtown Hartford, and also on Highway 41 in Oshkosh. We do that at 11:08 every Thursday. 5 questions, that's what Steve said, that could conceivably, if a $30 Mine Shaft gift card and a WTMJ prize package can do it for you, can change your life. Real quick, I'm not going to do a lot of Aaron Rodgers today because, frankly, he's a Jet now and I don't have to cover him. But as an admirer of the talent of one Aaron Rodgers, so he shows up in a lot of coverage, as you can imagine, showing up for the big presser this afternoon, which you can hear live on ESPN 94.5, our partner here, partner station at Good Karma. I think it's around 1 o'clock or so. Don't quote me on that. All of a sudden, he shows up in New York. His hair is trimmed. He's still got the beard, but it's the non-hippie look. Interesting that it took that shift to New York City. Well, because here's one of the things to watch. Well, Aaron, and this is my prediction, by the way, Aaron will shed the hippie California whatever look for the high culture, highbrow, high fashion New York City model / NFL quarterback. That's the look you're going to see. Trust me on that. So short hair showing up today in New York for the presser. Walked into the offices of the New York Jets moments ago. Beard will come off. He'll start wearing the tailored suits again. All the hippie T-shirts and, all the crazy weird stuff. He'll still be in his brain, of course, because he's a California guy. Don't forget. But all that stuff's going to go away. He's going to be a highly sought-after interview and highly sought-after bachelor in New York City. My prediction. Watch it. It will come true. News is next.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Ready to downsize and move from your longtime home? Call Bruce's team today. Their senior real estate specialists will guide you every step of the way. Go from overwhelmed to I can do this. 262-242-6177. Bruce'sTeam.com.
Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors. Certainty Diamond Level Select Shingle Masters. The best of the best. And that's why you can feel confident in choosing us to install your new roof.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
The place you want to go. Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
One last chance to make it big.
Rebound taken by Giannis, and then he throws it down with a vicious one-hand slam.
Our Game 5 coverage of the Bucks and the Heat starts tonight at 7:30 with Bucks Shoot Around. We are the home of the Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
$11 o'clock, 43 degrees. The high today, 48 and partly sunny from the WTMJ